You talk about cognitive problems. She's got bigger cognitive problems than he has, in my opinion.
Look, the Democrat Party, they've got a real woman problem. I mean, and they've got Kamala Harris, who's their candidate for president. They've got Gwen Walz, who would be the second lady. Oh, I couldn't even imagine. Listen to this school teacher talk to a crowd like they're in kindergarten.
Are you ready? Let's hear it loud and clear like we said. Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance, please mind your own business. Oh, that was excellent.
That sucked, by the way. That wasn't excellent. You didn't even rhyme it. It should have been Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance, please mind your own business. Wait, that still doesn't work. That was the worst thing ever. But she's like, yay, guys, that was great. You're amazing.
Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance, please mind your own business. Oh, that was excellent.
Has she never read a Dr. Seuss book? Has she never read any kind of poem? It's like it was I see Paris, I see France, I see ladies' underpants. That one works. Oh, Mrs. Harris, Mr. Walls, neither of y'all got any balls. See, that works. How was that?
Oh, that was excellent.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very. That's good. See that? I should be the second lady. I'd give a much better speech. But the fact of the matter is, they're all cognitively challenged, as Donald Trump has said.
They laugh at us all over the world. They're laughing at us. And you know what they're really laughing at? Kamala, because they can't believe that she's going to be president. They can't believe. You talk about cognitive problems. She's got bigger cognitive problems than he has, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it seems to be rubbing off on the rest of them.
Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance, please mind your own business. Oh, that was excellent.
That should be disqualifying, or that should disqualify anybody. Being married, if that's your wife, you shouldn't be allowed to run. You should be allowed to run from her, but you shouldn't be allowed to run for any kind of public office. You know who's not happy, by the way, about Donald Trump going out there saying that Kamala Harris has bigger cognitive difficulties than Joe Biden? You know who's really mad about it? Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi. Jake Tapper had Nancy Pelosi on, which, by the way, I was outside Nancy Pelosi's office today. Let me see if I can pull up this photo real quick. I had to go meet Congressman Aaron Bean. I mean, I didn't have to, but I was invited. And Congressman Aaron Bean's office is right around the corner. Look, I took a picture. I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't see it. It's too far away. Okay, but trust me, that says, if you zoom in, Nancy Pelosi, California. And I was standing outside her office, and I was shocked because I thought I would see outside of Nancy Pelosi's office either some like homeless crackheads, you know, the homeless crackheads just laid out with needles in their arms. I thought I might see piles of poop because in San Francisco, in her district, there's that whole poop map. Remember Ron DeSantis was talking about the poop map of San Francisco? Because when you're walking around San Francisco, the last thing you want to do is, you know, step in a big pile of poop. You know, Nancy Pelosi, she doesn't want to put her Louboutins in a big pile of poop. She doesn't want that red sole turning brown. Ew. But there was no poop outside her office. There were no homeless crackheads with, I thought there might be some big bags of cash, you know, maybe from her husband's latest stock trades. But no, none of that. In fact, I don't think anyone was there. I'm pretty sure Nancy Pelosi is bugged out, as many of Congress people are doing, because A, the session ends on Friday, and B, there's a hurricane coming, so people use that as an excuse to dip out. But Jake Tapper asked her about Donald Trump, saying there's some cognitive issues with Kamala Harris, and man, Nancy Pelosi was not happy.
Donald Trump saying that Kamala Harris has bigger cognitive problems than Joe Biden.
Why would you even cover that? This is a person who's not on the level. He is their nominee for president. He is incompetent. Let's not even talk about the silliness of it all and the weirdness of it all and the assault on women that it is. We're not going to talk issues. Incompetent.
She doesn't even want to talk about it. Why would you even bring this up, Jake? Why would you even bring up this question? Donald Trump is incompetent. He's harmful to women. We're not really sure how, but this is a misrepresentation of the news. Why? When you have Nancy Pelosi going on CNN and scolding Jake Tapper, when you have CNN calling Kamala Harris a liar on the border, when you have CNN polling showing that most people prefer Donald Trump's economic policies to their own, when you have when you have Dana Bash saying, I am stunned to see that Donald Trump leads in the polls when it comes to the economy. When you've got CNN saying, oh, you know what else our survey found? That Joe Biden is inextricably Joe Biden will always be linked to Kamala Harris, and as a result will drag her down, and her entire campaign with her, and her hopes and her dreams and her desires to be the first female president. All of that is going to go right down the tubin because of Joe Biden. American patriot and icon Chuck Norris had come aboard as a sponsor of the show. Chuck Norris, this guy is incredible. This guy is incredible. If you haven't seen Chuck Norris, I just want to share this with you. This guy, look at this guy. This is amazing. Chuck Norris has been, he's in his 80s. He's still kicking butt. He's still working out. He stays so active. There he is boxing. Pow, pow, pow. And the shocking thing is he's stronger. He can do this longer. He's got plenty of energy left over. He can hug his grandkids and play with them. All he did was make one change. He says that he feels like he's in his 50s, even though he's 3 decades older than that. His wife, look at her. Look how great she looks. She feels 10 years younger because she made the one change. Chuck made a very special video for Patriots that explains everything. If you want to watch it, it's at chuckdefense.com/MK. That's chuckdefense.com/MK. Click on the link. There's a link in the video description on YouTube and on Rumble, and you won't believe just how simple it is. Just how simple it is. Remember, and also I want you to remember that Chuck Norris is 84 years old. Literally an 84-year-old, and he could probably, I'm going to be honest with you, he could still kick my butt. chuckdefense.com/MK. You have to go watch that video, and you have to learn Chuck Norris's secret to being awesome. chuckdefense.com/MK. There's a link in the description of this video. This is something that Donald Trump wrote on Truth Social earlier today. Big threats on my life by Iran. The entire U.S. military is watching and waiting. Moves were already made by Iran that didn't work out, but they will try again. Not a good situation for anyone. I am surrounded by more men, guns, and weapons than I have ever seen before. Thank you to Congress for unanimously approving far more money to Secret Service. 0 no votes, strictly bipartisan. Nice to see Republicans and Democrats get together on something. An attack on a former president is a death wish for the attacker. Now, what Donald Trump's doing here is a couple of things. First of all, he's saying Iran has been threatening my life. Iran has made threats against me. Iran has tried to eradicate me. Iran has tried to kill me. And Iran is a hostile nation. If Iran kills Donald Trump, there's a bunch of issues that we have to deal with here. If Iran kills Donald Trump, there will be war. There can't not be war. If any country, whether it's Iran or Ukraine or Russia or China, if any country sends operatives that are funded by, that are trained by, that have the backing of the regime in charge, if the president or the premier or the prime minister or the sultan or the ayatollah or whatever, whoever it is, if they order a hit on a presidential candidate, a former president, any really U.S. citizen who's involved in politics, if they do that, if they try to interfere with the election and the forward momentum of the United States by trying to take out with an assassination attempt, the president, and if they're successful, you have to declare war. There's no choice. The country has, in order to protect what's left of our standing in the world, in order to protect our Constitution, we would have to obliterate Iran. So that's why the Democrats are coming to the table with more Secret Service protection. That's why the Democrats are now saying this is going to be an issue. Because, look, the homegrown attempts, if they were actually homegrown, failed. The first one with Crooks in Butler, Pennsylvania, that one failed. We're not really 100% sure who was behind that one, but it failed. And then this guy, Ryan Wesley Ruth, whatever it is. His attempt failed, but we're learning more and more about him. We're learning that this guy had $150,000 that he put out as a bounty on Donald Trump's head to whoever could finish the job. We learned that he had a weapon, a high-powered rifle that had an obliterated serial number, which means he was able to get it off the street and probably paid a pretty penny for it. We learned that he traveled all around the world. He went to Ukraine several times. He was enamored with the Ukrainian resistance. He worked with soldiers who fought for Ukraine, sold off everything they had. He worked hand in hand with Ukraine, and he did not like anybody who thought Ukraine should be defunded or that the money that the Americans are sending to Ukraine should stop. He wanted that gravy train to keep flowing because he was pro-Ukraine. And he thought the worst thing that Donald Trump could do is have Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky come forward and make some kind of deal. So he sat outside the golf course for 12 hours. But we're still not 100% sure where he got his money, his funding, or his information. There's new information coming out, too, as we investigate, because, look, the FBI's got the guy. He's in custody, and we're finding out more about him, thank God, and there are investigations. But apparently, he had a list. He had a list of Donald Trump's schedule, where he was going to be. Let me see if I can find it here. Here we go. Look, this is a tweet from Benny Johnson. Let me share this with you quickly. Ruth possessed a list that included dates from August to October of venues where Trump had appeared or was expected to be, and is suspected to have traveled near the golf course and Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort multiple times. Now, we don't know where he got this list, and I'll tell you this, a lot of these rallies are not planned very far in advance. That's what happens when you're running for president. You look at the map, you look at where you need to be, you look at where things are happening. You look at, for example, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina. You look at where the numbers are changing, and you're like, all right, we're going to go here, we're going to go there. But as far as the general public is concerned, the rallies aren't planned that far in advance. In fact, if you go to Donald Trump, hold on, let me pull this up real quick. DonaldTrump.com, his official campaign website, it may actually be DonaldJTrump.com. But if you go to his official website and you look for a rally, you're only going to see like the next 2 or 3 that are coming up in the, first they're going to ask you for a bunch of money. Here, let me pull this up. Let me show you really quickly what I'm looking at here. This is the Donald Trump official website, okay? They're not after me, they're after you. I'm just standing in the way, the iconic quote. And if you go up here to events, you'll see that you can click on events and it'll show you the upcoming events for Donald Trump. And right now, all right, we've got a handful. Look at this. We've got President Donald Trump scheduled through this Saturday in Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin. Okay, he's going to be in Warren, Michigan, Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin. Walker, Michigan is where he was, Mid Hill, North Carolina. So after that, they don't have the listing of events. They've got all of J.D. Vance's events, but they'll reload this in the coming weeks when they figure out where they need to go, where they need to be talking to the voters, where it's most necessary that they reach out and have that public outreach and try to sway the vote toward Donald Trump. And so they're working on those events right now. But this guy, Ryan Wesley Ruth, he had that list. How did he get that list? How comprehensive was that list? Where did that list come from, and who helped him obtain it? These are all questions that we're going to need to know about. In the meantime, the Secret Service, which, yes, Donald Trump is saying, okay, it's funded, and yes, he's supposed to be having the protection that all presidents get. He's supposed to have the highest level of protection now because his life is in danger. He's supposed to have the highest level of protection because of these multiple assassination attempts and the fact that we now know Iran and I'm sure Matt Gaetz told us 5 assassination teams are after Donald Trump. And as I said before, I don't know how many assassination teams is too many assassination teams, but that to me seems like a lot of assassination teams. So you want to have a lot of Secret Service. And Donald Trump himself said, I have more men and more guns around me than he probably has more men and more guns and more security than Volodymyr Zelensky does at this point. And Volodymyr Zelensky, that guy's got a lot of American funded security. But Josh Hawley had a whistleblower come forward and let everybody, know, hey, the Secret Service, they're not actually protecting Donald Trump the way that we we're told they are.
Yes, in fact, we have a new whistleblower report tonight, Jesse. Whistleblower with direct knowledge of the Trump campaign and the Secret Service and their interactions tell us that the Secret Service recently told the Trump campaign they could not secure a rally for Donald Trump in the state of Wisconsin. Now, this is interesting because it directly contradicts what the Secret Service Director, Rowe, said last week when he said, Trump is getting exactly the same level of protection as Kamala Harris and the sitting president. Really, because Kamala Harris just held a rally in Madison, Wisconsin, and I am told by a whistleblower with direct knowledge of the situation that Secret Service says that Trump should not and could not have a rally in Wisconsin because Secret Service could not protect him and adequately staff it. This calls into question, Jesse, what they're saying about staffing. It calls into question what they're saying about parity between Harris and Trump. And once again, it underscores the fact they're not telling us the whole truth.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. So the Secret Service says Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are getting the same level of protection. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump would like to go to the swing state of Wisconsin for a rally. Kamala Harris's rally goes off without a hitch, plenty of Secret Service protection. Donald Trump's rally in Wisconsin canceled. Why? Because the Secret Service couldn't offer the protection necessary to keep Donald Trump safe. Weird. They're supposedly getting the same level of protection. Weird. They're both in Wisconsin. Weird. One of them can have a rally and the other one can't. That seems a little bit like political bias. That seems a little bit like election interference. That just seems a little, wrong. It seems like we're not really as dumb as Gwen Waltz thinks we all are.
Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance, please mind your own business. Oh, that was excellent.